Der kanadische Premierminister Justin Trudeau hat seinen Rücktritt angekündigt. Damit stürzt eine weitere Regierung eines NATO-Staates. Wie schon in Deutschland, in Frankreich, in Großbritannien, in Österreich, so stürzt nun auch Kanada in ein Regierungschaos. Wie bewertest du den Zusammenbruch der kanadischen Regierung? Siehst du einen Zusammenhang zu einer Krise des neoliberalen Westens, wie es von zahlreichen Experten medial diskutiert wird?
I think you have to add one more government in that collapse. That's the collapse of the American government. The administration of Joe Biden, part of the establishment, was replaced by a counter-establishment candidate. So what we're seeing is a global trend away from the empowerment of certain political and economic elites through a government that has been the trend for the past 30, 40 years. And I think circumstances have compelled people to recognize the failure of this approach towards government, this failure of this approach, this neoliberal approach towards world affairs. And they're rejecting it. We're seeing a wave of populism, and that's what this is. This isn't organized, politics as usual. This is the discontent of the masses manifested democratically, at the polls, and I think we're going to see more of this. I think this is the end of the neoliberal era. What will replace it? I don't know. To be honest, many of the, political movements that, are replacing these elites still have enough connectivity with the foundational elements that I don't know if policies are going to fundamentally change. There might be a lot of smoke and mirrors going on where the public is being misled by politicians who embrace a populist agenda only to fall back on the time-proven politics of self-enrichment, because that's what this is about. This is about enriching the political and economic elite, and it's very rare that a politician can operate at that level and avoid those temptations. So we'll see what the future holds, but right now what we are seeing is a trend towards rejecting post-Cold War Neoliberalism.
Der angehende US-Präsident Donald Trump hat nach Trudeaus Rücktrittsankündigung seinen Vorschlag erneuert, Kanada sollte als 51. Bundesstaat den USA beitreten. Auf seiner Plattform Truth Social schrieb Trump, viele Menschen in Kanada würden es lieben, der 51. Staat zu sein. Wenn Kanada mit den USA fusionieren würde, gäbe es keine Zölle. Die Steuern würden deutlich sinken und sie wären vollständig sicher vor der Bedrohung durch russische und chinesische Schiffe, die sie ständig umgeben. Zusammen wäre das eine großartige Nation. Ist das tatsächlich ein realistischer Vorschlag oder nur politische Agitation? Könnte und sollte Kanada ein Bundesstaat der USA werden?
I think this started as a joke, where Trump, just simply was needling the Canadians, But we need to recognize that Trump, at the same time that he's needling the Canadians, is serious about purchasing Greenland. He's serious about going back into the Panama Canal, taking that over. He has imperial ambitions. His concept of making America great again appears to be geared towards a greater America, that is, an expansive America. And I think a lot will depend upon this new Canadian government and whether or not it's able to establish itself. If we see happening in Canada what's happening in the United Kingdom right now, where governments simply can't stay in power because of the inadequacy of the entire system, who knows what the future will hold? Stranger things have happened. Again, the majority of my thinking on this is that this is just a joke that Trump is using to needle the Canadians. But um, I can also see Trump exploiting political chaos in Canada to plant that seed, and we'll see. I mean, it's not going to be an easy thing absorbing Canada. Um, One, we have to decide if the Canadians have to decide if that's what they want to do. There would have to be referendum. They are, it's not a singularity. I don't imagine we would bring Canada in as a 51st state. Um, there are provinces that have their own identities, and I would imagine that these provinces would, have to be treated as, separate territories to be brought in, much like what happened as we absorbed the Western territories. One by one, the territories had to, um, you know, show that they were capable of being states in terms of, their laws. My dogs are objecting to Canada joining the United States, but so we'll see. Right now, it just seems to be a joke that's gone a little too far. But again, if Canada can't resolve its issues, there is an inherent attractiveness to becoming part of the United States from an economic standpoint. How that plays out socially and politically is another question.
Könntest du da bitte ins Detail gehen? Ist der Staat Kanada noch ein wirtschaftlich und politisch stabiles Gefüge, stabil genug, um als eigenständige Nation zu fungieren?
We'll find out. I think, again, if Donald Trump is serious about this, and you never know, the fact of the matter is the United States can collapse the Canadian economy overnight. And if his goal is to bring about the economic and social and political collapse of Canada to the extent to which it, joining the United States would be attractive, then that might be something he would do. Canada right now is not, it's left to its own devices, independent of the United States. Canada is not economically viable at this juncture. It is too dependent upon the United States. As Donald Trump pointed out, $100 billion worth of subsidies, that's a lot of money. We'll see. Canada needs to get its act together. It doesn't have its act together. But that's a Canadian problem. There's a lot of nations that don't have their act together. One would say the United States, with a $36 trillion deficit, doesn't have its act together. So, here we are pointing an accusatory finger at Canada. When we ourselves look how ugly this last election cycle was. America is fundamentally divided. It remains divided. So, it's a little bit like the pot calling the kettle black.
In den USA bringt der Wahlsieg von Donald Trump die MAGA-Bewegung an die Macht. Der Republikaner macht keinen Hehl daraus, dass es ihm darum geht, die US-Hegemonie in der Welt wiederherzustellen. Nur mit anderen Methoden als die Biden-Regierung. Obwohl die führenden europäischen Mainstream-Medien Trump mit Dreck überschüttet haben während seines Wahlkampfes, kommt jetzt kaum ein kritisches Wort über seine Pläne, das US-Imperium wieder stark zu machen. Auch in Europa gewinnen nationalkonservative Kräfte zunehmend an Boden. Die FPÖ in Österreich, die Rassemblement National in Frankreich, die Reform-UK-Partei und auch die AfD in Deutschland. Wohin führt diese politische Verschiebung den Westen? Was für einen Wandel werden wir erleben in der US-Politik, in der NATO-Politik und auch in Europa?
Let me pull out my crystal ball. First of all, we don't know the sustainability of the MAGA movement at this point in time. I will say this, that it has stepped into a vacuum of political leadership, both in the United States and globally. There are no, within the Western neoliberal world, Europe, etc., there are no leaders, no real leaders. Name one. Justin Trudeau was supposed to be a leader. He was a joke. Emmanuel Macron is supposed to be a leader. He's a joke. Olaf Scholz is supposed to be a leader. He's a joke. The British can't keep a prime minister in power. Their entire system's a joke. Europe is a joke. The United States under Biden was a joke. Donald Trump is stepping into a vacuum. He may too turn out to be a joke. We don't know. What I can say is this, if he can assert himself as a political force, there is no opposition to him, none whatsoever, and he will get his way in the United States and in Europe. Um, when you speak of NATO, speak of a an entity in need of an obituary. NATO is finished, done. When Mark Rutte became the Secretary General, I said at that time, he will be the last Secretary General of NATO. NATO is a finished organization. It has no future. Donald Trump will destroy NATO because NATO makes no sense. Makes no sense whatsoever. Nobody can articulate a politically, economically viable reason for NATO to exist. It has no legitimacy. When you speak of American hegemony, I think Trump's taken a different approach to this. He doesn't want to be the world's policeman because that's been a losing proposition. He doesn't want to be involved in forever wars around the world, propping up failed, nations, failed systems that cost us trillions of dollars and achieve nothing. He wants to create Fortress America. And we see that. We see that with his approach towards Greenland, towards the Panama Canal, and getting America out of. If you want to be the global hegemon, then you want to sustain the treaty, infrastructure that enables you to project power globally. He doesn't want to do that. So NATO is finished. Finished. He doesn't care about European Union. The European Union can only exist if the United States wants it to exist. I hate to say that to you Europeans, but the European Union is nothing. Its only viability is being an extension of American foreign policy interests, where the Europeans are fooled into believing they have actual autonomy. The European Union stands for nothing, therefore is nothing. Now the question is what the individual European states want to do. Germany, I think, is in the process of redefining itself, divorcing itself from, again, the political and economic entities whose ability to hold on to power was completely premised on America being willing to underwrite Europe's security. We're not willing to do that anymore. So therefore, there's no legitimacy to these entities who sold their soul to the United States. And it's time for European nations to rediscover who they are. And that'll be a difficult process because many nations like Germany forgot who they are. I mean, I've never been more sickened by Germans when they aren't proud of their flag. I'm an American who loves my flag. Of course, we have a law in the United States that says the flag is a living symbol of the nation. You guys haven't gone quite that extreme on us, but the flag still is the symbol of your nation. And if you love your nation, you love your flag. You're proud of your flag. Tears should well in your eyes when your flag is raised, when your anthem is sung. You should love your country. Germans don't love their country because they've been taught to be European. They love that stupid blue flag with the yellow stars on it, which stands for nothing. We see the rejection of that in Georgia right now, in the Georgian Republic, the rejection of this European Union nonsense. France is starting to reject the concept of European Union. Rediscover who France is. I don't know if France can be rediscovered. We now have politicians admitting that this open border policy was deliberate. It was a deliberate effort to bring in immigration. To do what? To bring in immigration to dissolve the notion of what a nation state is. Those nations that still have citizens who believe that they are separate and different from. But anyways, the point is Europe's in the process of rediscovering itself, and the United States isn't going to underwrite this process of rediscovery. American hegemony no longer, under Trump, no longer is defined by dominating Europe. It's at least being a dominating partner to Europe. We will dominate Europe, but we'll do it the old-fashioned way. We'll separate ourselves from Europe, and then we will impose our will on Europe, not as a partner, but as the supreme force. That's what we're going to create. Fortress America. This is what I think Donald Trump's vision is to create Fortress America, which becomes self-sufficient. It becomes economically independent of foreign supply chains, and then can dominate the world, or at least compete in the world economically. And the goal is to be able to compete economically with China. I think that's the direction that we're heading.
Schon vor dem Amtsantritt von Donald Trump am 20. Januar zeigt sich der wachsende Einfluss der MAGA-Bewegung auch auf Europa. Insbesondere der US-Unternehmer Elon Musk sticht dabei hervor. Mit Argwohn beobachten die Mainstream-Medien und Politiker seine Wortmeldungen und Kommentare zur Politik, etwa in Großbritannien, in Frankreich oder in Deutschland. Zuletzt amüsierte sich Musk über die für ihn offensichtliche Unfähigkeit von Bundeskanzler Olaf Scholz und Vizekanzler Robert Habeck. Während Scholz die Sache herunterspielte, droht Habeck Musk nun direkt, seine Macht zu begrenzen. Das heißt, seine Plattform X zu sanktionieren. Tatsächlich mischt sich Musk direkt in die deutsche Politik ein, zum Beispiel durch seinen Aufruf, die AfD zu wählen und durch sein bevorstehendes Interview mit der AfD-Vorsitzenden Alice Weidel. Wie siehst du die Aktionen von Musk? Handelt es sich dabei um eine illegitime Einmischung von außen? Und was offenbaren die Reaktionen des deutschen Establishments?
The German establishment can go to hell, straight to hell, rot in hell. The German establishment just underwrote a multi-year campaign in the Republic of Georgia seeking to interfere in the government of Georgia, calling legitimate elections illegitimate. Who the hell is Germany to say that? So I'll tell you what, Habeck, pound sand. How does it feel, Habeck, to have somebody come in with money and put the money into your politics and get people to start talking about you? No, I have no sympathy for anybody in Europe right now with that fake little blue flag and the yellow stars that tried to go to the Republic of Georgia and undermine an election, who snuck into Romania and annul the presidential election by a fake claim that Russia interfered. Now they say, no, Russia didn't interfere, but it's too late. The election was annulled. Hey, Beck, that was you. So yeah, you want to play stupid games? You win stupid prizes. If you had anything going for you, you'd ignore Elon Musk. If you were actually competent, no one would care what Elon Musk says. He's a stupid American sitting behind a desk, tweeting on a platform. And that threatens you? How weak can you be to have words on a stupid phone threaten you? You're the leader of Germany. Stand up and lead. But instead, words bother you because you're so weak. You're fundamentally incompetent. You stand for nothing. And that's the problem. When you stand for nothing and you are nothing, suddenly words start to resonate amongst people. Why is Elon Musk's words resonating in Germany? Because your leadership stands for nothing. They have no ideas. Nothing. They just say, vote for me because I'm German. Vote for me because No, what do you believe in? What do you stand for? And when there's pushback, they collapse. And when the pushback comes from inside, like Alternative for Deutschland, AfD, they turn to the courts and they're going to try and nullify them as an extremist organization. Is that democracy? No, it's not. Habeck, power. What are you going to do, Habeck? Let me warn the rest of the world. In America, we have this thing called freedom of speech. We talk. You can never shut us up, ever. The British right now are talking about prosecuting Americans for posts that they make on social media. Bring it on. We'll crush you. See, this is the war of ideas. And our ideas may not be the best in the world. In fact, many people rightfully challenge American ideas. But they are forcefully expressed, and we mean what we say. We may be wrong, but we mean what we say, and we're willing to back it up. Habeck's a little coward, a little scaredy boy, running away because somebody tweeted something and he doesn't like it. Somebody's going to have an interview and he's afraid of what the content is. Somebody's interfering in elections. Hell, that's all you did in Georgia, interfere in elections. And they beat you, Habeck. They beat you. Why? Because the Georgian politicians stand for something. They stand for Georgia. They have principles, they have values, and they stood up to the European Union and they crushed you like the little bug you are. You don't have anything, Habeck. You can't stand up for anything because you are nothing. So no, screw Habeck. Screw every European politician who's afraid of free speech. If you stood for anything, the antidote to bad speech is better speech. If you think somebody's saying that something's wrong, then stand up and say something right. And make sure that your words resonate with the people, and then you'll win their votes. But what Habeck's saying is, oh, we don't stand for anything. We are nothing. Therefore, we can allow no criticism. We have to operate in a vacuum. He's trying to shut down AFD. He's trying to shut down Elon Musk, and he's going to fail because he's a nobody. Sorry, I'm just furious at. I hate politicians who are so scared of words. Words don't constitute interference. Words constitute ideas. And if you're a politician who has good ideas, if you stand for something, you should be able to we to show you the power of words. In America, we had two great philosophers. Again, people may disagree with them, but we had Gore Vidal, who was sort of progressive left wing, and we had Buckley. And they used to have debates and all this, but William Buckley. My God, I wouldn't want to be on stage debating either one of them. Why? Because they understand the power of language and they've done their research. And when they open their mouths and they speak, words have meaning, words have value. And every time they said something, it was meaningful, it was substantive. Where's Habeck's meaningful, substantive speech? Why is he afraid? Why doesn't Habeck say, hey, if you're going to come and talk and do your show with the AFD, come and debate me? Let's do an Elon Musk-Habeck debate in front of the German people. I will crush you, Elon Musk. Come to my country. I will crush you like the bug you are because I have better ideas. I know what Germany wants. I'm ready to defend my values. I'm ready to destroy you. But no, he wants to silence Musk. The second you seek to silence people, it shows that you are fundamentally weak because it shows you don't have the better ideas. Words have power. And if you want power nowadays, in a world where social media has taken on importance, you better be able to you better have control of the language. And the language needs to be attached to real ideas with real values that resonate with people. Habeck has nothing. He's an empty shell.
Liebe Zuschauer, wenn euch unsere Beiträge gefallen, teilt sie unbedingt in den sozialen Medien. Abonniert unseren Kanal und drückt auf die Glocke, damit ihr keine Veröffentlichung von Gegenpol verpasst.